Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. And thank you for being here. I think many of you know, you've heard me in the past talk about my curiosity for, my attraction to butterflies. They're such magnificent creatures. There's something enchanting about butterflies. I learned something new about butterflies just yesterday that I bet you did not know. I was listening to Lloyd Newell, who is the voice of a weekly broadcast called Music in the Spoken Word. And he usually gives about a 2 or 3 minute message. And yesterday he touched upon butterflies, and I'm going to share with you some of that message. But what's happening inside of the cocoon may surprise you. Many of us think that the caterpillar is just simply hibernating in there, kind of just slowly growing its wings and building itself. But what's actually happening in there is even more miraculous. Once it's inside of that cocoon, what that caterpillar does, the caterpillar, is it releases enzymes that turn its body into liquid. And then from this watery soup, the entire butterfly is rebuilt, this new creature. The muscles, the nervous system, the heart, everything is recreated completely. And that little caterpillar transforms into a beautiful, brilliant butterfly. Now, if such a transformation can happen with caterpillars, why not with people? Can we undergo an inner metamorphosis as wondrous as the outward transformations that we see in butterflies or in nature? Can a life that has experienced failure become a success story? The answer is yes. Not only can we change, we were meant to change. Just as the caterpillar was not created to remain a caterpillar, we were created to grow, to progress, to improve, and to make a difference. If we allow it, then life's experiences, if we can learn from life's experiences, then they have a way of melting away our stubbornness, our selfishness, and any other weaknesses or habits that we may have, changing us in effect, making us wiser, more generous, and really a more loving person. Can we give up bad habits that hold us back? Traits that damage relationships? Attitudes that block our view of a brighter future? Let me tell you a story about a friend of mine, a friend of our family. Just last Saturday, sat down and had a long talk with him, and I learned a lot from this man. This is a man that has been struggling with addictions his entire adult life, battling them, bringing him into the depths of deep despair and deep depression. We worried about him. We fought with him. His friends fought with him. They tried to help him. There was no answer. But I see him today, and he's this butterfly. He's no longer this bitter caterpillar. He's let go of those habits, and he's emerged into this butterfly that flies. And I wanted to know what happened. He said the first thing was the gift of desperation. He said, I reached a point of desperation when all of a sudden a trigger happened. And when that trigger happened, I could see a bigger and a better me. And I made the change. And he talked about smoking in particular. He says, smoking was tougher than drinking. I said, really? He says, yes. I said, well, how did you quit smoking? He said, well, I was in the hospital. The lower part of my lungs had died. They were dead. They still are dead, by the way. He has to use an apparatus to help him breathe. And yet he was there and he was dying for a smoke, literally. And he convinced a friend of his to untie his tubes, unhook him from the machines, and he and his friend were escaping down the hallway when they were intercepted by a nurse. The nurse said, where do you think you're going? He said, I'm going out to get a smoke. She said, no, you're not. There is no smoking allowed on this campus anywhere. And he looked at her and he says, well, then I'll quit. And that's what he did. He quit in that moment. And he's never smoked since. Well, my curiosity got the best of me. If it was such a bad habit, how is it that you never went back to it? And he said, I had one saying. I don't know where it came from. It probably came from somebody else. But he says, I just kept it in my head over and over again. And that one saying was, if you don't pet it, it won't follow you home. And I thought, I have to write that down. If you don't pet it, it won't follow you home. And how true is that? Not only with We think about it with addictions, but aren't we all addicted to our own behavior? Aren't we all disciplined to our own set of habits? And we go back to those habits when we pet them. And if we pet them, they'll come home with us. It's been said that it's easier to be 100% than to be 99%. 99% is when we pet them. Now, of course, great change is not immediate any more than nature's miracle with the caterpillar happens in an instant. But if we believe enough to keep trying, we can become more than we've ever been in the past. Can we acknowledge our mistakes, apologize to those we've offended, maybe set a new course towards a brighter future that motivates us, inspires us, a future of love, compassion, humility, and achievement? Every caterpillar carries within itself the makings of a beautiful butterfly. And every one of us can remake ourselves into a thing of wonder. And on those wonderful, beautiful butterfly wings, we can discover that we can fly. Have a wonderful week this week. I look forward to seeing you next week. Make it meaningful. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.